They will start the 9th day for the SketchUp course. Today we will learn more about styles and scenes. We will be creating our own template. We will also learn about creating custom materials from images and also using reference images for creating our drawings.
Hello.
Yes, Naina.
So this was the exercise which I did on Saturday for the Saturday. So what you asked.
Okay.
So here I wanted to ask you about this doubt which I asked you on chat, that if I want to suppose increase the width of this dresser. So now since I want this also to come at the center together, so can I do it with some shortcuts, or I have to do it manually?
You can do that. For that, you need to instead of using the scale tool, you can do that by using the scale. Yes.
Okay, but this will also get elongated, right?
Yes. Do you want that to elongate or not?
No, I don't want.
You don't want. Then you can do one thing. You can go inside. Yes. Now make a selection so that you get make a selection from the left corner, not there. You just select the parts you want to elongate, right? Yes. Up to the drawer. Up to the drawer, the edge of the drawer, not just the face. Yes, very good. Now move that face to here. Make sure you move it in the right direction. Now it's moved, right? Now you need to pick. You need to move the handle or the niche there to the center point. Pick the center from there and center from the bottom. Hold Shift so that it. Yes. Now pick the center from the bottom.
Yeah, it is center, I guess. No. This is.
Very good.
Okay. And also, so I did that group thing because I made this cabinets and all shelves and everything after I made the group of the furnitures, and after tagging all the furnitures, after putting them in the layers. So,
okay, very good.
So what you told was cut and then paste in place.
Right.
I was trying to make two pillows here, but I was not being able to do this with this follow me tool. So is it something wrong, or I can do it because it is not happening? Like I made the mattress.
No, you can do it with the follow me tool, but it will not look very much natural. But yes, you can do that. Can you try this?
So it is coming something like this.
Okay, there are too many intersecting faces. Maybe that's why.
Okay.
You will have to remove these lines. Yes.
Yeah.
But that will take some time, and it will not be very easy to get the finished product. So we will be doing this. We will be creating pillows with different tools, and I will also show you different ways to create pillows. So you can ignore this process for pillow. Okay. So you will not get an accurate result anyway. And so everything you have in this model are created by you, right?
Yes.
And everything. Even the vase and all, everything?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Very good.
Windows and doors, everything.
Okay. Good work, Naina.
Thank you, sir.
Move on to today's session. Okay, today I'm starting with a very blank SketchUp file, and I will be starting with creating our template. For that, I will create two styles, exactly like we did yesterday. Starting with the architectural style, I will change the name to working style. If you want, I will also send you the configuration of two styles which we will be dealing with, and you can create your styles for your own profile, template, and this will remain the same. Here we will be using the sky. no watermark, no section fill, but we need the section cuts, and we want all of these. Yes, so that's all. I will update it and I will create another one. Okay. From the same architectural style and name this as output, and I will be using output black and white. For here again, profile will be 1, dash lines will be on, this time no endpoints, and I will go with the monochrome, or this one, the hidden one, hidden lines. And in here I don't want the sky, I only want the background, and background will be white. And no watermark again. And for this we don't need to show the guides, and the section planes will also be off. I think we didn't turn on the section planes here. And the axis will be hidden, and save. Let's go back to the working style and turn on the section planes, the visibility of the section planes. Do we have a doubt in this here? How and when do we decide we need section cuts or section fill? It is up to you whether you want to show the section fills in your presentation. That means section fills are basically when we cut a section, we normally don't show the interior of the faces, right? So we turn on the section fill in case of our drawings. But in case you want to show the section, I keep it off while working, because maybe we want to modify something inside the walls for some reason, maybe, or maybe we want to pick some points inside. So I prefer to see inside the walls so that they are as if they are kind of hollow. But in case of output style, we don't need to show the interior of the faces of the walls. So I turn it off. I turn the section fill on, and it kind of look better that way for a plan. It's kind of a presentation thing rather than a technical one. And okay, then I think we are done with the settings. We have two different styles. One is this one, and the other one will be here. So let's, and also that I have turned on the section plane for the working style, so that section planes are visible only while working, not on the output. So let me get rid of everything here, and let me go to a standard view. Okay, now we need to create two scenes for the two styles, right? And I will expand the scenes window and create scene 1, which I will call working. And I will turn off the camera because we won't be saving the camera location for this option. And also we don't need to show this in animation. We will cover animations later on. So we don't need to cover this in animation. And also, and remaining everything will be the same. Okay, active section planes, okay, that will be on. And I will update this working plane. Then I will move on to make sure you make the changes and then you create your new style, new scene. This is the new scene, and I will call this output scene. And in the output scene, I need the same settings. We will not be saving the camera location, and only rest of the objects or rest of the options will be checked. So what we did here is we created two different scenes, right? And here, if I have a shape, let's say we have few walls and a section. Let's say this is the section. Now I can rotate my camera and quickly switch to the new one. Okay, let me do a little modification. I will turn the active section plane off for both. We don't need that information to be saved as well, okay, because of that we had some conflicts. Now we have this, we can work here, and we can quickly switch to the next one, the output one. Accidentally, we need to change the style and then update it. Now we can quickly change the style. Now, the camera is not changing, only the style is changing, right? So that's a very quick way to switch between styles, and also to switch back to the working style. Now you can notice some kind of fading effect is happening there, right? That's because by default we have animation settings turned on. That means there is a transition effect going on. So for that I will go to view and go to animation and go to settings, and under scene transition, under animation settings, here I will turn off the scene transition and also delay to 0 seconds. Now I will explain this when we covered animation, and save it. Now you will see that if I switch, the switch will happen instantly. There is no transition or the fading effect there. So that way we can start working here, and then whenever we need to see the model, I can just click here and we can see the output, how the output should look like. That's it. So we have created our style, we have created the scenes. Now we will be saving this as a template. Now let me get rid of everything, make sure that we don't have any unwanted components or unwanted materials here, or even groups or components, because in the template, if you create a template, it will store all the information. That means if you have few layers, you can store them as a template, so that whenever you start your SketchUp, all those objects or components or layers, they will be there from the very beginning. Okay, so that's what a template is. So I will just save my camera so that it looks like a the beginning point of SketchUp. I'll go to File, then this time I'll choose Save as Template. You can see below Save As, we have a Save as Template option. I'll save as. Now if you want to save your default set of layers as well, then you can create the default set of layers and save it as a template. You can even update a template later on also. Now, I recommend you to write a name that is quite self-explanatory. I will write this as SketchUp, and I make sure that I include the unit here, because I know that I'm working in millimeters, and I include the unit there. And file name will be updated automatically. and if this is on, then this will be my default template. So I'll save the file, and now this will be my default template. Let me close the file. Let me open up SketchUp again. Now we have this SketchUp millimeter as my default template. As you can see that there is a heart icon to represent that this is the default template. Now when I open SketchUp, we already have the output and the working styles as well as the tabs ready. So we don't have to create it every time we need to work on SketchUp. Now this way you can save a lot of time. You can definitely create your layers, and if you use few components very frequently, you can have them here on the file. You can erase the objects from there. You know that they will still be there on the component window, so it will be stored in the template, right? So that's how we create templates. Next, I will show you how you can start creating drawings from reference images. Now, before going to reference images, let's start with adding custom materials. Now, let's say we have a room. This is the floor and these are the walls. Now, let's say we need to apply some materials that are not in the library here. For that, there are few different ways to apply materials from images. One is to apply a default apply any material. Click and apply any material and modify the material, and under here you can select and pick up any image, which can be a JPG file or PNG. These are the supported image types, and you are ready to go. So you can just replace the image which comes with any material and change it. Let me show you how. We have I have got these materials downloaded. I will also show you how to search for a proper material, and let's select this option and done. Now if you want to resize, you can resize it. I know that these are all rectangular tiles, so they both should have the same dimension. I'll break the link so that I can change them individually. 1200, let's say 1200 by 1200. And thus we have a custom material here. Now that's one way to do this. The other way to apply material is go inside a face. Make sure a face is selected and not the object. That is, the face needs to be selected. Go to the file and import. Now here make sure you select all supported image types and not SketchUp or any other types. Make sure this option is selected, all supported image types. And I will go to the same folder and pick up the image I want. And one thing needs to be taken care of is that make sure that texture is on. You import the image as texture and not as image or new match photo. Make sure that this is on and then import. Now you can place it and scale it as per your proportions, and then we have the image. Now you can pick that image. For picking an image, we can hold the Alt key and click on the image, click on the texture, or you can also use the sample paint icon from here and then apply on the rest of the faces. Now I don't recommend this option because you will be applying the texture on the faces instead of the group as a whole. So you can create the texture, and once you create the texture, you can then apply the texture from here to the group as a whole, right? So that's how you create custom images. And if you want to resize, you can go and resize it any way you like. Now you can see that this texture is actually seamless. That means even though the image was a rectangle, a square like this, it is repeating without any sign of repetition. I will show you how do I align the tile to the floor edge. Okay, I will show that as well. Let me show you what happens if we don't use a seamless image. Now the difference between a seamless and a normal image. Let me search for rubble masonry, and I'll search for texture. Let's pick up this material. Okay, I know this is not a seamless image. It doesn't look like a seamless image. Let me save this file. And now apply it to another object. Group. I'll create a new one and change the image texture to this and apply it here. Now this, since I told you that this is not a seamless image, what I mean by that is you can see that the point from where the image is repeating. You can see the tiles that are repeating. That means it will give very unrealistic look if you apply an image that is not seamless. So whenever you search, make sure you look for images that are seamless, and you can do that by typing seamless next to your search terminology, and by that you get more. Actually, it's not guaranteed, but there's a better chance of getting seamless images. And in order to check whether an image is seamless or not, you can do that by looking at the image. That means this part will be repeating. So from here, the edge should continue. And even this image looks, yes, it looks like a seamless image. No, it is not a seamless image, because you can see that this is not continuing on the other side. Even though this looks like a seamless, this is not a seamless image. Let's look with this one. I can immediately spot that this is not a seamless one. Let's continue searching, looking for more. This is a seamless one because this will continue here. Now this needs some experience, but with some trial and error, you can find out whether an image is seamless or not. And sometimes you can even trust the term with the image title. They are saying that it's seamless, so it's quite possible that it's a seamless image. Now I'll show you how to align the texture and also reorient the texture. Okay, let's pick this style. Okay. Now we can reorient the image only if the image, the texture is applied on a face. So we need to apply the texture on a face first. I have applied it to the face. Now I need to right click, and we will see a texture menu here, and under texture menu we have few options. One is to position, projected, which we will cover some other time, and then we have the option to edit texture image. Edit texture image is it will be redirected to our default texture, image editing software, which was the settings we can do under our preferences. We will deal with position first. Here under position, this is for the move option. I can move it so that this corner is at the corner of the room, right? That's because this is the image, right? So make sure that image also has the corner at the right point. Only then you can place it at the corner, and done. Now you can also rotate it and scale together, and if you want to rotate only, then you can follow the guide for rotation. Now if you want to rotate it at particular angle, I don't think we have that option, but you can rotate it. It's better to resize and reorient the image in your external image editor and then apply it here for more accuracy, because in SketchUp we can reorient, but we cannot scale it accurately unless the image is in scale. The image, that is the JPG, is created in scale. We can only change the scale with these options, and this is 1200 by 1200. That means this one rectangle is 1200 by 1200. Just a second. 1200 by 1200, but we don't know whether the tiles are created at the same angle or not, right? So these tiles may not be created as 1200 by 1200. Okay, so that's how we place our texture at the center of, at the corner, or at the starting point of a room. And we can also use images for references. We can use images for references to draw our model or to create the 3D of our model. For that, I have got a reference image. Let's import it to a face. I will draw a face like this and select the face, file, import. Let's pick this one. Make sure you use it as a texture image. Import and place it anywhere inside. I can scale it, but I will be doing much more accurate scaling later on. So we have applied the texture. Let's move the top edge so that we have the complete image. Now we can see the complete image. Now, in order to scale this, we need to know a dimension, right? So, and before scaling the entire model, instead of scaling the entire model, we need to scale only this part, right? So I will create this as a group, Control G, go inside the group, and then I can scale. Now we need to know any one of the dimension, and that dimension, the longer the dimension, the more accurate result you will get. So let's pick up this height. So I know that this height needs to be around 600. So let's pick this height and type in 600, enter. Do you want to resize the active group or component? I'll say yes, we need to resize it. So now we have this approximately at 600, right? And now I can start modeling. So let's say I can start modeling inside or outside. I'll start with here. Let's draw a rectangle. Now I can draw accurately also by giving dimension, typing in the dimension. Let's type in 1600 by 1300. Okay, now I will divide this. $750. And from here we have around 500. Okay. And this will be at the midpoint. Right. And I can do push-pull to start modeling like this. Now I'm not going to do any more take any more dimensions. I'll just quickly show you how we can then start the details for this. If you want, you can also go on adding more details. I mean, adding more dimensions. And thus, from any reference image, you can start making your 3D model, no matter whether it's an elevation or even a plan. Okay, I hope you got an idea how we can start modeling. And then if you don't want the material from this, you can apply the custom material side and you will be left out with the model only. And if you want the materials, if you want to use the materials from the image itself, you'll leave it that way.
So you were saying if we even have a picture or a model, we can anytime resize it. Is that correct?
Yes, you can anytime resize it. And also that's possible if the image is not in perspective.
Okay.
Okay, so if it's a perspective, then you will only get one dimension right. The rest of the dimensions will not be accurate. Okay, and you can even pick materials from an image itself. That means if I want this material to be applied on, let's say I have another shelf here or a cabinet here, and I want this cabinet to have this material all throughout. So I can go inside, make a rectangle so that I have covered the material, right click and make a unique texture. So everything that's inside this rectangle will be treated as a new texture. So I will make it as a new texture. Now I can pick in this texture, right, and apply it in this model. Now you may not get a very realistic texture because the rectangle you draw may not have a very perfect seamless pattern. So you may get seamless results which looks like repeating itself. But yes, sometimes you can definitely use these kind of textures. You can let's create this as a new texture, pick the texture, and let's say we have this opening and apply this here. So you need to again fix this by picking this here and scaling it up. And let's say we can also skew it on one direction or skew it on the other direction. So kind of you can play around with the textures, create textures from an image itself and use it to your advantage, and you can modify the texture as per your design. And you can always change the color and texture image from these options. So I will show another example where I will import a plan to a face. Let's pick this face and import the plan and use it as a reference image. Now this is a plan we used in one of our previous workshops. We need to resize it. Let's make sure that everything is visible in the plan. Yes. Now I need to convert this into a group, go inside and pick a dimension which we know, which we can take as a reference. Now I can pick in the wall width or the wall thickness, or we can pick in a smaller dimension like the door. But as I have mentioned, the longer the dimension, the more accurate results you will get. So let's pick this one and the other edge here. Here. Now this is 7,500. So I'll type in 7500, enter. Yes, we want to resize it. It was almost as if I had placed it at almost 90% accurate. It was even before we scaled. So you might not have observed the change, but yes, it is now at around 7,500 and we have scaled it almost accurately. Now working with images will not be that much accurate. You might have already understood that, but working with CAD drawings will be more accurate. But we will be using the images only for references, and we can use our own dimensions in SketchUp. Like even if the dimension here is saying that it's 7499 or 7498, we can definitely draw a line from this point of a length 7500, and on this side we can draw it as not picking up the direction, okay, along the green direction, 6600, and again in this direction it will be 7500, and start modeling like this. An offset of the wall thickness. I know that this wall thickness is around 300, and thus we can apply our dimensions even if the reference is not accurately placed. Okay, another thing we can do here is that while working with reference images, so that you don't accidentally delete the reference image, you can also lock the reference image. That means right-clicking it and lock it. So anything that's locked will be shown as red with a red outline. And you can also see this under the entity info, which is here. You can see that there is a lock icon. You can lock and unlock it from here also. And thus you don't accidentally move or delete a reference images. So even if I select all of these and I move it, you will see that the reference image will not be moved or deleted. So that way you can work with reference images and lock it while working. So let's learn what projected textures are now. Let me unlock this and get rid of this. Now many a times while working with irregular shapes or complicated shapes, the textures are not properly draw a cylinder. Yes. Now if I try to apply material, you'll see that sometimes the material does not get applied in the way you are looking for. So that happens especially while applying materials to curved geometry or an irregular geometry, or say terrain geometry like that. So for that, what we need to do is, wherever we want to apply the material, we can either have a flat face, I mean a face looking directly perpendicular to that particular object, and we can apply the material there. Let's pick this material instead. So in that case, if that material is not properly applied, now here this is not the right example, it's already applied here. So for that, I will go to texture and turn the projected option on. Okay. Under texture, you can see that the projected is now on. Now this texture is used as a projection. Now, what I mean by that is, using this as the reference, the texture will be projected along the curve. So if I pick the texture from here and reapply it on the object, you'll see that now it's projected along the curve. Now again, I have mentioned that this might not be the right example to show this, but this will be helpful while working with irregular geometries. Let me quickly show. I'm not able to think of a right example to show, but definitely we will come across situations where we need to apply projected materials, and I will show it at that moment. Okay, next up is creating collections of anything that is creating collection. We can create collections of materials, components, styles. Yes, all these three. So other materials, once we have created several materials that we might be frequently using on our models and that are not default materials, so that we don't need to create that material every single time we need to apply it on different models, we can save an individual material. We can save it as a SketchUp material, SKM, that is, to our SketchUp material directory, or we can save the entire collection of materials which we had just created as a material collection. So I can save the collection as a SketchUp material collection and save it in a folder. So all the materials will be saved in the material collection folder, and it will be visible here. So if you frequently create materials, then it is recommended to save them as collections so that you can use it on other models as well. And also same thing with components. If you have, let's say, several components, just convert this into a component, convert this into a component. So we have, let's say we have a collection of components which we frequently use. You can save these collections as a local collection group and pick a folder where you want to save it. And same thing with styles. Okay, now these two styles are available as templates, but many times you might be creating styles for individual files, and those styles can also be saved as collections. Now, the directory which it looks for and it searches for these styles are under the preferences. And here under files, you will see that there are different set of file locations, which are the default file locations. We had talked about this in the very first class, but I guess it would not have been clear if we tried to explain it then that time. But this is the location where our default components will be saved, and you can change this location as well by picking up another location if you want to change the default location. Now here the materials will be saved, and here the texture styles will be saved, and here the templates will be saved. So we have created a template, and that template should be in this location. So I had earlier created this template. Today we created this one. So it will be saved here. Classifications and export is again the way we export. By default, it will export it to this image, this one. And if we export texture images, it will be exported here. So these are all default file locations. And also under application, we can choose a default image editor like Photoshop or GIMP or any other file editor which you prefer. And if you go and if you pick up the texture and go to edit texture image, that file editor will be open by default. So that's all for today. We had covered in details about styles, and also we created the template, and also we will cover scenes of a little bit more details later on. But yes, we had also covered creating scenes and saving both of them as templates. We also learned about creating materials from custom images or downloaded images, or you can even click photographs and use it as texture images as long as they are seamless. And also we had learned about creating our 3D model from reference images and using those references as in proper scale, in proper dimension, and also about creating collections of materials, components, and styles. So that will be all for today. We will be accelerating slowly everything and every class, that is, because we have a lot to cover, and yet we haven't even started with plugins or extensions. I hope everyone has created your own styles, and make sure you create the template today, and because we will be working on this template in our future drawings, future exercises. And I hope everyone has created your shortcuts, and if you're not still using shortcuts, make it a habit to use shortcuts for at least the tools that are there for default, and you don't try not to use the icons, or instead try using the shortcuts for space bar, that is the selection tool, for move, scale, and all of them. And also create your own shortcuts for the frequently used commands as I have shown, like for example paste in place and creating groups. If you want, I can even share the list of the custom shortcuts which I use personally, and that is customized for me, but you can use the same shortcuts. That will also help you follow the same commands which I will be using. I will share it as a file which is called preferences file. So under preferences, I can export I will be exporting this as a preferences file, and you just need to import it into this particular window, and you will be set with all the shortcuts which I am using right now. So let me export this to here itself for the course preferences underscore Arnav. Shortcuts and file locations both will be there. I can turn off the file locations. You can choose your own file locations because these are all custom one anyway. And you just need to import it. That's all. Please keep on practicing whenever you get time, and please do ask me your queries. Whenever you ask queries, then only I get to know that you are working on it and you are practicing, and only then I can clarify things further on. Like if someone asks queries, then there are 2 or 3 topics that gets covered altogether. So please be ready with doubts whenever you are for the next sessions as well. Okay then, see you all tomorrow.